The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
This is On the Record. I am Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, and this is your fast track to the most powerful moments in court each week. Now, we're in week 2 of the Georgia trial of Nicholas Kassotis, accused of murdering and dismembering his wife, Mindy. Now, last week, jurors got a crash course in this brutal and bizarre case, from the discovery of Mindy's remains to the defense's claim that the couple was running from a man pretending to be an FBI agent. Now, a woman testified that she had married Kassotis just months after Mindy was killed, never knowing his real name, never knowing about his past, and now finding herself married to a man accused of murder. Let's take a look.
I do a report largely for situations like this, when it may turn into something much larger than just wanting to know what the minimum postmortem interval is. Okay. For many of the cases that we do, it's families that might just seek closure knowing how long their deceased has been deceased. In other cases, it might turn into civil or criminal matters.
What is your expert opinion regarding the minimum postmortem interval for the deceased?
So mathematically, when we calculate what that time of colonization is, it comes to November the 28th, 2022. Like I said, there's always a range associated with that, and the range is November 27th to 29th, 2022.
So your estimate includes the dates of November 27th, 28th, and 29th of 2022?
Correct.
Mindy was no longer in your immediate presence and you would have to communicate long distance. How would you typically communicate with her?
Well, there's 2 different times where we were in long distance with each other. So after I moved away from Savannah, when she moved there in college, we would text or call occasionally. After she got married, we would text or call, but then there became a point where we were only allowed to communicate on the Signal app.
What did Mindy share with you about why it was important to communicate that way?
Because it was important that our conversations not be intercepted or able to be read by anyone, because there were dangerous people that were after her and Nick, and it was a protection level to make sure that our conversations stayed private.
Did you have occasion to meet an individual that went by the name of Nick Stark?
Yes.
Did you ever know the name Nicholas James Kassotis?
No.
Now, you indicated that at the time you were in the process of a divorce. You'd already been separated. Did you know Mr. Stark's marital status?
I believed I had. He told me that he was a widower, and that he had lost his wife and his unborn child about 2 years prior, and that they had both died in a hospital.
Can you tell us, how did it make you feel learning that he had not only the first wife who had passed, but the second wife from before her?
I don't think words will ever capture how I felt, but I felt if I had to choose some words, I'd say horrified, shocked, traumatized, violated, deceived. After learning that I tried to be as helpful as I could be, because I was horrified.
What was the guy's name, the software guy that you were communicating?
He goes by Jim to me. The last name McIntyre. I feel like he's lied to me so much that I...
Have you ever met him in person?
I've met him multiple times. He's shown places where we were, told us that he thought it was time for us to move, to find a better place.
Now, Day 5 picked up with more from Nicholas Kassotis in his own words. A tense police interview where detectives called his story a web of lies. And forensic experts weighed in on whether a knife or tools linked to him could have been used to dismember his wife.
Here's the deal. There's a reason that Mindy died.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't
You know very well that reason, because you killed her.
I did not.
The big question is why.
Sir, I would never have killed Mindy. I woke up in the morning and I took care of her. I rubbed her back, I rubbed her leg.
And she wasn't pregnant.
Is she? Sir, she was due in January.
She was not pregnant at the time of her death.
Sir, she was.
She was not.
When you placed her body out there, you did us some favors. Where you placed it, it preserved some things. You weren't expecting her to be found so quickly.
Sir, I never saw her after she died. I never heard Mindy.
You know, your story is just so unbelievable. Everything you say, and has continued to say, has been a lie. You say it's lying on behalf of Jim,
Yes, sir.
but then now you're saying too, it's clearly you're lying about that day.
About which day?
The day of the 29th, when your cell phone records you going where your wife's body's found, or torso's found, and where the pieces of her body are found at other locations. And how that tracking in that area shows you being there, how the cameras show you being there. And you're saying, oh no, I wasn't there. Is that what you're saying?
Sir, I don't know what location that shows.
Were you asked to analyze any items in connection with this case?
I was.
What items were you asked to analyze?
So I had some segments of bones, a deer processing kit, and a knife.
Can you tell the jury what a suspect tool is?
So a suspect tool is a tool that was taken off of whoever the suspect is or from their property. They have that tool that's connected to a person, and they usually, the reason it's being submitted is to see if we can determine if it was the tool that was used.
Okay. Would that also involve tools at crime scenes?
They would.
Okay. And specifically, the knife in your possession there, was that a suspect tool?
It was.
And with respect to this knife, did you note any individual characteristics?
With this knife, I never looked for individual characteristics on this knife because I didn't do a comparison of this knife to anything at an individual characteristic level.
Okay, why not?
So I was able to determine that this knife was not used on the other 4 bones based on a disagreement of class characteristics. Looking at this bone, I was not able to eliminate or even compare to the knife, the problem being that area that you were just indicating. I can't tell because there are so many false starts here. I can't exclude this tool. I obviously cannot say that it is the tool or it is this exact type of tool. I just can't exclude it.
That knife that you are holding right now, that suspect knife, you determined that that knife could not have been used on the right femur, correct?
Correct. So I determined this knife was not used to create those cuts on either the right or the left femur.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Now the pieces were starting to form a clearer picture, but the question remained, would that picture point to guilt or to reasonable doubt? Well, day 6 of the trial was all about the people closest to him, from his first wife to former Navy colleagues, and all of them with wildly different stories they said he told them about Mindy's death.
Do you know the defendant in this case, Nicholas Kassotis?
I do. I met Nick in 2009 when I reported to Norfolk, Virginia for my first assignment as a JAG. I hadn't heard from him in years, and then around July of 2022, he said that Mindy was pregnant and that they knew that the gender was a girl.
When was the next time you spoke with him?
So I didn't hear from him again until March of the next year, so 2023. We connected again on the phone. Early in the call, I asked him how Mindy was doing because I figured the baby must have been born at this point, and he mentioned that she had passed away. He explained that she had complications with the pregnancy. Some weeks later, a mutual friend of ours forwarded me a news article about her disappearance, that her remains had been found, and that Nick was the primary suspect.
I'm showing you now what's marked as State's Exhibit number 2.51. You recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
It's an Instagram message between myself and Nick Kassotis. Nick says, "Are you available for me to call?" And I respond saying, "Yes, always available. Don't ever have to ask."
And you spoke with him?
I did speak.
You
with him.
recognized his voice?
I absolutely did.
Tell the jury how that conversation went.
He was crying. He said that Mindy was gone, that he didn't know what happened. He apologized, saying he wished he could have protected her more, and that he was so sorry for her not being here anymore. I asked him, "What about the baby?" He said, "Oh, we lost the baby."
Can you see the defendant in this case, Nicholas Kassotis, from where you're seated?
Yes, I can.
How do you know him?
Nick and I met at Naval Justice School in 2008 when he was attending the basic lawyer course.
Are you familiar with the defendant's first wife, Heather?
Yes, sir, I am.
At some point, did they become divorced?
Yes, sir, they did.
And following their divorce, did the defendant ever discuss the breakup with you?
He did. He expressed significant distress about the fact that there had been infidelity, which he alleged had been on Heather's part. In addition, he shared that Heather had lied about wanting to have children and that he was desperate to become a father.
Was there a time that the defendant saw you after your divorce when you were pregnant?
Yes.
And describe to the jury what happened on that occasion when the defendant saw you pregnant.
Nick was very uncomfortable when he saw me. He did utter the congratulations, but the body language wasn't matching.
Were you able to determine the vehicle identification number of the vehicle registered to Mr. Kassotis?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that do anything with respect to your reviewing of the footage from the Riceboro pumping station?
It did.
Why was that important to you?
It was able to narrow down a time frame of when a similar vehicle had passed.
What did you observe?
I observed a white male in the vehicle, but I couldn't identify the white male.
As a result of that, was that enough for you to take warrants at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
So, all the stories were told. The jury heard a patchwork of conflicting accounts, and the question now is which story, if any, they'll believe. Well, day 7 was all about the defense, with the moment we were waiting for, Nicholas Kassotis taking the stand. Now, he told jurors that he didn't kill his wife, never touched her, and couldn't have dismembered her because he's afraid of blood. He also admitted to buying the knife, the shovel, and the deer kit, but said it was all innocent. Now, of course, prosecutors hammered him on the gaps in his story, including why he never tracked down the so-called FBI contact that he claimed advised him. Then came the closing arguments. The defense pointed to no murder weapon and no forensic link, while the state argued Kassotis was the last to see Mindy alive and that learning that she wasn't pregnant may have been his motive all along.
Tell me about the time around Thanksgiving. What was going on in your house then?
Mindy was not doing well. Her pregnancy was, what I believe to be her pregnancy was very difficult. She had a lot of health issues.
And during that Thanksgiving weekend, were you ever away from your home?
I was.
Did you ever hear from Mindy while you were away from home Thanksgiving weekend?
Yes, I did.
What did you hear?
I got a message from her that she was leaving the home, that she was concerned, and she was going to get medical attention.
When did you next see Mindy?
I never saw Mindy again.
Why not?
I received a phone call, and I was told that she had died.
Did you kill your wife, Mindy Kassotis?
I absolutely did not.
Did you dispose of her body?
No, never.
Did you dismember her body?
No, absolutely not.
After you found out that Mindy had passed, you testified to this jury you never got a single document of any sort from the doctors, correct?
That is correct.
Death certificates, 1.68. They're registered with the state of Georgia. You're aware of that, right?
I am.
You yourself as an attorney never got a single document.
No, ma'am. I didn't have any reason to have a document, and so I failed to follow up on it.
You were on trial for murder, correct?
Ma'am, I was not.
In anticipation of today, in your testimony, you knew you were on trial for murder, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't bring a single court document with you.
Well, ma'am, I believe the testimony is fairly clear that I was lied to about Mindy's death and that I did not have a document because there were no documents.
The actual hard evidence they have that Nick Kassotis killed Mindy Kassotis is incredibly weak. The state introduces this knife. I'd have been expecting to see some hard evidence tying that knife, that Milwaukee knife, to Mindy Kassotis's, I'm sorry to be so graphic, but her dismemberment. But what did you hear? The exact opposite. The state's own tool mark, not my expert, the state's own tool mark expert. That knife wasn't used to remove those body parts of Mindy. I think that if you can set aside that emotional gut reaction, you will not be able to find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
They found a torso, a knife, tubs, and wipes. All things he had access to, all things he purchased close in time to when this happened. He bought a shovel at an Airbnb that he paid $4,500 a month for. And he's doing their handyman work. He didn't believe she was pregnant. He wanted kids so badly. And he found out Mindy wasn't pregnant. Because if Mindy was pregnant, you know what he doesn't do? He doesn't kill her. Because he wanted kids. He found out she wasn't. And the last person to see her alive was Mr. Kassotis. Mr. Kassotis didn't have a name of a doctor, a location of a place that he went to. He never visited her. His wife was 8 months pregnant, due in January, and he didn't go see her? He didn't go see her because she wasn't in a hospital. He didn't go see her because he knew she was dead. And he didn't ask about a baby because he knew there wasn't one.
Now, day 8 would bring it all to a head. The jury got the case, deliberated, and delivered a decision in open court. What they decided and how quickly they reached it made for a tense and emotional ending. Let's go there now.
State of Georgia versus Nicholas James Kassotis. Count 1, malice murder, guilty. Count 2, felony murder, guilty. Count 3, aggravated assault, guilty. Count 4, concealing death of another, guilty. Count 5, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, guilty. Count 6, possession of a tool for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 7, possession of a tool for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 8, possession of a tool for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 9, possession of a tool for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 10, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, guilty. Count 11, removal of the body parts from the scene of the death, guilty. Count 12, tampering with evidence, guilty. On this 14th day of August 2025.
The verdict was unanimous. Nicholas Kassotis found guilty on all 12 counts, including malice murder and aggravated assault for the 2022 death of his wife, Mindy. Now, minutes later, the judge handed down that sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole plus 25 years. Plenty of time to think about what he's done. Well, with that, that's it for this episode, but we're not slowing down. Next up, we're heading to Georgia for the killer's daughter murder trial of Christopher Wolfenbarger, a decades-old cold case with a chilling backstory and a shocking family connection. A man accused of killing his wife, but his wife's father was a serial killer in the late 70s, and her mom may have helped in some of those killings. Folks, you do not want to miss this one. And with that, I'm Cody Thomas, and as always, thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you next time we go back on the record.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.